December 22nd. It is 7 degrees out. How will she start? How will she start? I think she's gonna start just fine. Oh yeah. Parry? What's going on? You got the Boston trucker here.
Oh, there you are, buddy.
Camera rolling. Looking good over there, man. What's up? You got the Boston trucker with you. Here's the deal. You remember back in the day, even today, you're trucking along, you see a truck coming towards you, you recognize it. You pull down the mic, you give the guy a shout because you recognize the driver. You say hello, you give him a road report. You say, have a good trip. Well, this morning I'm trucking across Route 2 and I see this big bunk W900 car transporter coming towards me. And I go, I recognize that truck. That's Ryan Parry from Pennsylvania. So I says, hey, where you going? He says, I'm heading over by Logan Airport in Boston. I got to get some cars and I'll be heading out of town. So once I parked the truck today, called him up. I says, where you at, driver? And he says, well, I'm about to get on the Mass Turnpike. I says, you got about a half an hour? I'll meet you. We'll do a little interview. You know, so he says, yeah, I'm just on my way home, trying to beat the Christmas rush, but I'll meet you. So that's where we're going. We're going to meet Ryan Parry. He's got a very interesting story, and he's calling me right now. Hold on. What's up, Ryan?
Are you here?
I'm about 5 minutes away.
I'm pulling in here now. I guess the front side's all back, blocked up and everything, so I'm going to go out back, see what's going on out here.
Okay, I'm going to park in the car area and I'll walk over and find you. I'll be there in about 5 minutes.
No problem.
All right, Brian. Bye.
Yep, bye.
Ryan Parry, ladies and gentlemen. Family's got a long history of trucking. We're going to go hear something about it. I'll throw in some pictures in this video like I always do. And hey, yeah, Boston Trucker Christmas special. Not really, but it is 2 days before Christmas. Cue that music, yeah! The Boston Trucker here, welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy it. I think he wiped it down since he saw me on the road this morning. There he is. How are you?
Good.
Happy holidays. Good to see you. Yeah. Would you wipe it down since you saw me this morning?
Yeah, I wish.
Looks good, man.
I wish, but no, you know, it's that time of the year.
Where are you off to?
Back home, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I'm loaded for Maryland, but I'm going to go home for Christmas first.
Okay. So you just came out of Boston?
Mm-hmm.
How was that?
Fun.
Yeah?
I was over at the airport my first time there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was me and about 40 straight trucks, you know, fighting around the parking lot. And I pulled in and I had a blind side out and parked back in the street to get back out, but it was all right.
So what were you picking up there?
One car.
Okay.
One car come over from, I'm not really sure where it come from. But
Came from overseas though?
Yeah. Oh,
really?
Yeah.
So people do that?
Yeah, I just don't really want to say what I, you know.
But people do that? They fly cars from overseas?
Cars, yeah, we're not JFK.
No, without saying anything, is it going to like a residence or to a show?
No, neither.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So we won't ask to see what's inside.
Yeah, most of the cars that are being flown are either they could be private owners or they're mostly like corporate cars.
Okay.
You know, the corporation, Lamborghini or Bentley or somebody like that can own them or whatever, you know.
All right, so let's start with the truck.
Okay.
Tell me about this truck. Let's not get run over, so you watch my back.
The truck is the 2004 Kenworth W9. I bought it brand new.
Really? Brand new?
I bought it, came out of Performance Kenworth in Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
I had a 2001 379 Peterbilt I had traded in on the truck. But when the truck was new, I had an 86-inch studio sleeper.
Okay.
280 wheel wheelbase stock, and then in 2017 I stretched it to a 325. I ran it like that for a little while with the studio sleeper still on it, and then I had the sleeper removed, and they put a day cab kit on, and then ARI put the bunk on it in 2017. So April of 2017 is when I got it back with the bunk.
What's that, about a 140?
120.
120.
Yep.
It looks perfect.
I wanted a 108. I didn't want to go that big because I was mostly just wanted to gain the shower.
Okay.
And got the truck coming. But ARI talked me into the 120 for the bigger refrigerator. And
okay. I'm
glad I did it.
Yeah.
It's the right size. It's good for one person.
Right. You know? It's perfect. It's not too big, not too small.
It's probably even a little too big. But
yeah. Well, it looks cool.
But there's got people that are doing way bigger now. And so in the big bunks community of standards, that's a small sleeper.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, now it's like, how big can you go?
But I just actually turned over 2 million miles on it not long ago.
Wow.
I did one engine. I got 1.5 million.
What do you got under the hood?
A Cat A-Cert C15.
Okay.
Yep. I did 1.5 million, 1.5 million before I ever had to overhaul it.
Yeah.
And Cat down in Cleveland Brothers down in Harrisburg did it. And then I did both rears. The front rear I had a failure.
Yeah.
The rear was just leaking, but I was pulling it out to reseal it, so it had 1.7 million or whatever on it, so I put it back in. Okay. And I just had the transmission redone, so I did 2 million miles on the transmission.
What do you got for the transmission?
13 speed.
13 speed, perfect. Yep. That's all you need.
That's it. It does the job.
What are some of the custom wow factors on this truck that you like about your truck and that you've done to it?
Oh, probably the stainless boxes.
I like the boxes.
I did paint.
Is that a wrap?
Yes, I did.
That looks nice.
Tanks, and I wrapped the.
I like that.
Tanks are in stainless wrap.
I like your stainless back here.
Yeah, I did the stainless back. I mean, other than that, I wouldn't say it's a lot of like custom.
It's a work and show truck.
No show truck by no means. It's a work truck.
You got T-canes on here.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to.
Those are nice. Yeah. They don't even slow down. Look at this guy. Go faster, go faster. Oh, it's one of your cow hauler buddies.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more just, it has air right front end.
Yeah.
But it's a work truck, and I drive it every day. I'm in and out of neighborhoods. I do residential stuff. I do a lot of different things, and so to have big fenders and all that, it's not, I'll tear that stuff up. It's not practical.
Yeah. You got to go down into.
You try to keep a look with it, but it needs to be practical and be worked at the same time.
Sure.
So, that's probably about it. I mean,
you happy with the Kenworth?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was my first Kenworth. I never drove one or owned one or until I bought this. I was working for a company, and I had, like I said, I had a Peterbilt, and I grew up in my family. We had Freightliners and Internationals.
Sure.
That's what International was a big thing.
Oh yeah. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah. But then, I had a Peterbilt and I was young.
Yeah.
And, 379, a Pete, a big truck, boom, we're hitting the big roads. And and I wanted a bigger sleeper. And a guy where I was working, the guy had a Kenworth with a studio. And he's like, well, did you ever look at it? I said, I don't know. He says, well, here. So we switched trucks. I drove his truck down the highway. He drove mine. And I went and bought a Kenworth. That was it.
What can you tell me about this trailer?
It's a 2001 Kentucky. Yep. Yeah, my equipment's old.
Hey, you get your money's worth out of a 2001.
I mean, I've redone it all.
It looks nice.
I put new axles under it, cross members, the sides, the lift gate on the back.
A lot of lights.
Roof,
what do you do when a light goes out?
Well, you'd like to pull over and try to fix it, but sometimes you just...
I mean, how do you get up there?
My lift gate, I can lift up, and I got a little step ladder. I can lift up, and I get up there. And
does it bug you when you see a light out?
Yes, it does. The worst one is not so much if it's out, but if it flickers.
Oh yeah,
Sometimes they'll get where they'll flicker, and that drives me crazy.
Yeah. But, and that's all you can think about.
That's all you think about going down the road. And most people, other people, maybe they don't even notice it. Maybe they do. I would think just truck guys probably notice it.
Yeah, I would notice.
Your normal driver wouldn't really. Notice, but truck guys would notice.
Yeah, we notice, but I mean, I want to hold it against you. You got a lot. You even got these little penny lights. I noticed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
So you like the car hauling business?
I've been hauling cars since 2002.
And you get all over the country?
I I go all over. I try to stay, I live in Pennsylvania, I try to stay regional.
Yep.
Up here in the New England, Maryland, Virginia and stuff, but I run, for a lot of years, I ran 95 up and down into Florida, back and forth. I did that for a long, long time. I'll still take a trip to California once, twice, 3 times a year.
Yeah, stretch your legs.
Yep. I go out to Texas, Midwest. I just come in from Michigan. I was out to Michigan.
But regional get you through the house more often?
Yeah,
you
like
got kids?
I got 2 kids.
Yep, smart. So you get the best of both worlds. A little over the road, a little family time.
I don't mind being on the road, but I don't want to be that far from home, if that makes sense.
No, I believe me, I understand that.
But, yeah, I mean, I grew up in the freight business.
Can we go in your truck?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
I'll get on the passenger side. We'll talk about that. We'll get a little warmer.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's 25 degrees out. Bringing you this video. Oh yeah, it is warmer than this morning. I'm gonna take a look. Towels down and everything.
Well, I try, but it's this time of the year. You know how it is.
Oh,
and then you guys up here with them the dirt and the little rock pebble things, it just...
What little dirt and pebble things?
I don't know. It's like a different type of dirt up here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it just gets everywhere. It's all over the place.
I didn't understand.
You get down in other areas, you don't really have it as bad, you know.
You peek in the bunk? I won't go back there with the camera.
You can go
get
back.
A light?
You can do whatever you want.
I just want to take a peek with the camera. The light go on? No. Oh, that's nice. Get the shower. We can see. Nice. It's the perfect size. You got a little kitchenette, drop down bunk, lots of storage. Dude, that is fantastic. Get the windows. It's a nice rig.
And you caught me off guard, so it's clean but not clean. It's
I understand. I understand. And I'm sorry about that. But when I saw you this morning, I was talking on video. I said, you know, back in the day, I remember you going down the road and you'd see you knew everybody by their truck.
Yeah.
Now I'm up on my, that's what I call my road, Route 2. That's what I run every day. You're a guest on my road this morning.
Yep.
And when I see you coming towards me, I'm like, that guy, that's somebody I don't usually see. Right away, I knew that was you. And you always got your radio on. You always answer.
Yep.
And what kind of radio are you running here?
Galaxy 99.
It's a good sounding radio.
Thank you.
So,
my radio's always on.
Yeah.
Every time you yell, there was a couple times we yelled and we
we ran together once for a couple minutes.
Yep. And you're right about that, though. There were so many drivers through the years that I've met, I never even knew their names, but I knew their truck.
You knew the truck, yeah.
You knew the truck.
Yeah.
You didn't know their name. You didn't know, or CB. You know, back in the day, you know, most people CB handles was gold to these guys.
Yeah.
You know, they
now you go, what's your handle? They go, what do you mean?
They don't
I don't even have a handle. So I'm with Ryan Parry, P-A-R-R-Y. A lot of guys, that's a familiar name, Parry Transport, right?
Yep.
They're out of Pennsylvania, Scranton area, right?
Northeastern. We're out of Clark Summit, Pennsylvania.
Clark, which is off of 81?
81, yes.
And can you tell us the family history in trucks, when it started, where it went?
Well, it started before I was even born, before I was around.
Okay.
My father, who's 84 years old and still with us and going good, and
What's his name?
Bob
Parry.
Bob Parry. He was the starter of it. So I'd say in the mid-late 70s, my grandfather was in the diner business, his father.
Diners and like fast food diner?
Food.
I mean food diner.
Food diner. From like the I'd say 40s or 50s, and I think he sold it in mid-80s.
So where were the diners that he owned?
Well, just one diner was the Summit Diner in Clark Summit, PA.
Okay.
And my father worked in the diner.
Okay.
And he knew, he said he didn't want to be in the food business his whole life. He knew that was something he didn't want to do.
Sure.
And back then, the truckers, you know, it was more easier to just pull off the sides of roads and just park and go eat. So it was frequented a lot by truckers.
Sure.
And that's how my father started into all this. So he had a 1969 Corvette.
Yep.
He took that car down and traded it in for an old cab over Ford.
Did he have a license yet?
No.
So
One of the guys.
Wait, hold on. So he's talking to the truckers in the diner. He's starting to get the bug and the idea, and they're like, "Hey, you should do it." Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna get rid of my Corvette and go buy a cab over.
Goes down, buys a cab over with this Corvette.
Nice.
Gets a guy from the diner to drive it home.
Okay.
I guess this guy from what, I could be off a little bit, but from what I'm understanding, what my father told me, one of his first trips, how he learned how to drive, the guy and him went in my father's truck, and they took a trip to Florida and back.
Okay.
And that's where my father got.
Do you remember that guy's name?
No.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't know.
So they got the crash course. Let's go to Florida.
Crash course.
By the time you come back, you'll be a trucker.
By the time he come back, he was a truck driver.
That's awesome. That's the.
So.
Yeah, that ain't happening now.
No. So he did a lot of that, and then he bought I'd say I don't know what year it was, late set. He bought a brand new white Road Boss day
nice.
cab.
Now you're talking my language.
So he had bought this day cab because he thought he was going to get a job just running local with it. So he buys the truck, and that job never pans out. So he ends up running Chicago and Cincinnati.
In the Road Boss.
In the Road Boss.
This is what happened to my dad with his first truck too, his Western Star. Same thing, was going to be New England, and I'm running 48 states.
Yeah. My dad ran this Road Boss all over the place.
Sleeper or no sleeper?
No sleeper. Day cab.
Old school. Jeez.
No sleeper.
Wow.
And yep. So and I was born in 1979.
Okay.
And I mean, actually, I don't remember, but I guess it'd be 79, 80. They would bring me in the Road Boss with them. My mom.
Really?
And I was no bigger than the shifter. Yeah. My mom said all day long, I just stand there and hold that shifter and all day just shake. Yeah, just going down the high all day.
That's crazy.
When I was a baby, that's what I did. So
that's funny.
But and then
so Dad's trucking in the Road Boss. And what's he hauling in the Road Boss?
Back then, he was doing a lot of different things. I don't think anything in particular.
Okay, just whatever would pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
Van, flatbed.
It was all van.
Van, flat. Okay.
All van.
Yep.
And then he's a very avid golfer.
Okay.
He loves playing golf. So back in the days, he started in the salt company had like an office around. So he's playing playing golf with all these people.
Yeah.
So one of the guys says, "Hey, when you go get a couple trucks around, get your loads out of Watkins Glen and different."
Hauling salt out of Watkins Glen. Yeah, I done that.
So that was like the early '80s.
Okay.
And that's when he started buying a couple trucks.
So what was he buying in the early days?
Oh, he had a cab over Max and Internationals. Back in those early days, I don't think any of his trucks were anything special or that good.
But there was trucks. There was money makers.
There were trucks. They're
tools.
He told me a story one time. He had a truck. He had a cab over Mac. And the heat was messed up in the middle of winter, and the driver didn't. He had to go to Watkins Glen to pick up a load of salt. Driver refused to go. There was no heat. My dad said he put his snowmobile suit on, his hat, his gloves, and his whole.
Your dad went.
And he went to Watkins Glen.
Take care of those customers. You know that, right? That's
what it was, taking care of the customer.
That's where you get your work ethic.
Yep.
Sure, as your dad.
And that's where he went up there and loaded the salt and came back. So that's a lot of the stuff he did. And I remember when I bought this truck brand new. I came home with it. Same thing. He jumped in. He got in the back in 2004.
Yeah. And
he sat in this thing and he was looking around. He'd never seen a truck this nice before.
Yeah.
He was just amazed with it. But yeah.
So Dad buys some trucks. He's hauling salt.
Yeah, and then through the years, he just got a little more acknowledged and more freight and doing. And I'd say he only kept about 20 to 25 trucks up until about the early mid 90s.
Okay.
And then that's when it really took off. Yeah. So and then in the mid 80s to the late 80s, he bought some newer trucks.
Okay.
He did buy an 84. He bought a new glider, 4300 International, which I still own that.
Okay.
And he 85, he bought a new Ford LTL 9000.
Nice.
And 86, he bought a new Freightliner conventional. And then in 89, he had bought 6 or 7. And I remember when they first come out with the FLD, the Thunder Lightning Edition. The stand-up bunk bed, walk-in 60-inch bunks.
Some of those, huh?
Yeah, he bought 6 or 7 of those. Yes, they had all the stripes and I got all pictures of all that stuff. And then we ran those, like I said, till early mid-90s. And we had a bunch of internationals too.
What are you guys hauling in the 90s?
The 90s we were hauling a lot of stuff. We were hauling a lot of paper, shrink wrap, and plastic for a company was called AEP Industries. They're out of business now.
Where were they out of?
They had plants all over. They had one in Mountaintop, PA.
Yeah.
Then they had them in Charlotte, Texas, California, Chicago. We did all the hauling. We did a lot.
So on a side note, to me, Pennsylvania truckers are a cut above. To be a Pennsylvania trucker, I don't know if you realize this because you're from Pennsylvania. That's some like real mountainous, narrow roads. It's a dangerous area to truck in. You really got to be on top of your game.
It could be,
to be a trucker.
Yeah.
I trucked a lot of Pennsylvania. It's just one of those areas where you got to be on your toes. And all those road construction, mountains, DOT, snowstorms, snow squalls, bad drivers,
snow squalls and stuff. Yeah,
you know, great truck stops.
Your elevations are always changing.
Some of the greatest truck stops in the country were always in Pennsylvania. You know, the All-Americans, Snowshoe. You know, things that I remember. Do you remember any great truck stops back in the day?
Pine Grove was a big one for us. An All-American at Pine Grove. It was a rumor, but at one point it was like they always said a Parry truck never drove by the Grove.
Really?
Yeah, Parry trucks. We always pulled into the Grove, no matter what. North, south, it didn't matter.
Yeah,
but then we got a big contract with Kraft Foods.
Kraft, okay.
And we were hauling them in little Capri Sun drinks.
Sure. Yes.
Kids drink.
Yep.
So we did them. We were doing.
You had Capri Sun logos on your trailers.
Yeah.
I remember that.
25 trailers.
Capri Sun.
Surfer stuff and all that. So, and we were hauling that.
Where were they coming out of?
That came out of Winchester, Virginia.
Okay.
And we hauled all that stuff all the way up as far to Maine, Raymond, New Hampshire, all Jersey, Marcy,
a lot of grocery warehouses.
All grocery warehouses. That's what we did.
Yeah.
All grocery warehouses.
You guys were running internationals back then, right? In the 90s?
Yep.
A lot of internationals. Pro sleepers.
Pro sleepers.
Yep. Nice trucks, all different colors, right?
Yep. We were known as the most colorful fleet in the Northeast.
Wow.
We had every color from, you name, we had pink ones and purple and yellow and different types of purples. Yep. And it's funny because I remember back in that time, my brother Mike, his name was Mike, he was a lot of the ones picking these colors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then he would do the color, the lettering and the different colors to the lettering. And my brother Mike was doing a lot of that stuff. And my brother Rob, my oldest brother, he was doing a lot of the specking, the engines, the transmissions, and the dual. He was specking all the stuff, and Mike would do the colors. And
you're growing up in the business, right?
I was young back then, so I was a teenager. So I'm growing up in the business.
Trucks.
I started sweeping the garage, sweeping trailers, washing trucks, polishing wheels. Then I graduated into the shop. They let me grease trailers.
You didn't come out and graduate high school and go, give me the best truck?
No.
Dad, you getting me a Peterbilt?
No, but then I worked there. I worked in the shop. I did, then I was in dispatch.
Okay.
And then I remember I used to do a lot of dispatching at night and after school. And then I'd go up after school like 6 o'clock Friday night, and I'd stay till Saturday morning because the end of the week was I was busy. All the drivers, everyone coming in, I'd take all the bills and you'd write them, put it in envelopes, make sure. And then when I turned 18, when I got my CDL, I was dispatcher like on second shift from like say 4 or 5 to midnight, and then I go drive truck all night long. That's what I wanted to do, is drive truck. Sometimes I'd skip school. Sometimes
I don't know anything about that.
Be back in time to I'll be back, and then you go to school or you this. I remember one time I do remember, and because my best friend that we've been best friends since first grade, Ed, he'd always worked there with me too. He was like kind of my shadow. We were always together. I remember one night my brother came over. We were probably seniors in high school. My brother Mike came over. He says, "Oh, I got this load. It's got to go, and we got nobody. You're gonna have to take it. You're gonna have to." And I said, "Well, where's it going?" He goes, "It's going down to Virginia, down by DC." And I says, "Well, geez," I said, "I can't
leave the state.
I said, I'm not supposed to leave the state." He goes, "Well, this load's got to go." So I turned to Ed. I go, "Ed, if I'm skipping school tomorrow, I'll go, and you're going with me." So we hopped in this 1988 Freightliner. And down the road we went.
That's trucking. That, ladies and gentlemen, is real trucking. I don't know anything about driving out of state underage.
No,
nothing about that.
No, we don't know anything.
No.
But
and you know what? And I bet none of your schoolmates could relate to anything you would do.
No. And you know, you probably couldn't even do that today because nobody would. Who can you go drive, get a CDL? Like, I never went to truck driving school.
No. What is that? I never heard of it.
You know,
is that a thing?
And I'm a young guy, so I'm like. But if my father didn't have his business where I was able to drive and in that, and then in today's age, I don't know if you would do with insurances and that, if they'd even allow that. I don't know.
No, I always, I mean, kids who are under 21 actually still stay in the state.
Yeah.
You know, not like.
But yeah, at one point,
we were able to back then.
I'd say at about 94, 95, we started buying all internationals.
Okay.
We got rid of all the trucks from the 80s.
Okay.
They were gone.
What was it about internationals?
Oh, I think it's just because we mostly were international. We had a lot of older internationals, 9300, 9400s, and 9670, different cab overs. But in town, where my father had his shop in a little town, Nicholson, and in Nicholson, PA, there was Novich's. Novich's was an international dealer.
Okay.
And you know, if you needed to buy a truck or you needed something, you went down and you seen Frank, and Frank could get you. So it was just, you know, we're just accustomed to the international. Yeah. And then I think when we started buying more and more, we didn't, you know, we went through, it was Pinnacle International in Dunmore, PA. Okay. And I think just service and service parts and different things, it just worked, you know what I mean? Pricing and for what the truck, you know, and believe it or not, I mean, a lot of people look down on internationals, and I'm not saying they're the best trucks in the world, but for a fleet and fleet trucks, and you're hiring drivers to drive these things, and they were really nice trucks for in them time.
They were loaded.
They were loaded trucks. They had all the gauge packages, you know, all the shelving and the desks, and they were really nice trucks. And we, you know, we did dual exhaust on them and battery boxes, the lights down the sides, and
they were respectable looking trucks.
Then they came out with the 9900. We had standard hood ones. We had the extended hood ones. We had a lot of different trucks.
Did you have a lot of drivers that stayed with the company for a long time?
Yeah. We still, to this day, so 2002 is when it closed up, and we do every year like a reunion thing.
Oh yeah.
A lot of the old Parry drivers will still all get together. It was a very nice atmosphere.
A family atmosphere.
Yeah, and you know, you got to remember, and I grew up in this, so you know, there's a lot of guys that I still talk to and that I'm still friendly with. You know, there's them guys when I was a kid, you know, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, I'm riding in the truck with these guys all summer, all my Christmas vacation. I mean, I'm with Pat or this guy or that. I'm jumping truck to truck.
That's so cool. You know, it's great that you got to experience that.
Yeah.
And they must love watching you grow in your business. And
I've had a lot of guys come to me that work for my dad. You know, a lot of guys work for my dad for well over 30 years.
Wow.
Well over 30 years. And they'll still come to me today and just, you know, just say, oh, I'm proud of you, see what you're accomplishing, what you're doing. And, you know, yeah, we had a lot of, but then again, a lot of those people are, you know, they're passed on now too. So because they were, you know, they were old back then.
Yeah, of course,
They were old guys back then, but that's what I was raised into. And we talk about truck driving school and whatnot, and there's some things like I was never really taught probably the proper way to do things on certain things. Like, you know how back in the day, you know, someone, what do you do with this lock? Well, you do this. What? Oh, well, you got to go. Well, you can't. No, you can do it. Just do this and do. You know, so they're not teaching you the right.
No, you kind of winged it. I didn't know how to do a recap my first 3 years. And I was running out to the coast back and forth in 6.5 days. Like, I don't know how to recap.
Yeah, now we're on e-logs and everything's doing it for you. It doesn't, you know.
What about, I remember Parry, when Hank's Highway Hilton came from Coretta Trucking, Joe Coretta, New Jersey, came to Parry Trucking. How did that happen? Do you remember? How did he end up coming to you guys?
I don't remember exactly. That was my brother Rob.
Okay.
Rob's my oldest brother.
Did he recruit Hank?
I believe in a way he did.
Was Coretta out of business or going out of business at that point?
No, I don't know that exactly, but I know the truck. So the truck was sitting at Hank's house in Monticello for quite a few years.
Okay.
I believe Hank was off work with hip My hip or back, something with hips or back there. And Hank, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I know there was something there. And then Hank had made a deal with Kenworth of Pennsylvania to restore his truck. So they had towed the truck down to Dunmore, PA, which is Scranton, Clark Summit. It's right there.
Yep.
And when it got down to Kenworth, they were restoring it. I believe that's where Hank and my brother Rob united. Okay. So when the truck got back from restoration, Hank had signed it on
with you guys.
With us, with Parry. And that truck is now sitting out in the Iowa 80 Museum, and it still has the Parry logos and everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was huge. It must have been a huge advertisement for your company, like in all the magazines.
I mean, honestly, I never really see, because he was big with the truck shows into this.
I mean, he's a rolling billboard on his own. Never mind, now he's pulling the Parry.
Now he's pulling
with
a Parry trailer.
Capri Sun on the back,
and you always knew what trailer Hank had at a show, or whether it be a plain Parry trailer that we had, or the Capri Sun, because he would put all his stickers on the corners of the trailers.
Oh, really?
And, so when everyone teased, they say, "Oh, I got Hank's trailer," you know.
That's funny.
But I ended up, I drove that truck
really?
At one point. Yeah.
Wow, that's history right there, man.
Hank was out again from work. The truck was leased with us, and it was at his house in Monticello, and we were going to the Englishtown Truck Show.
Yep.
So this would have been 2001, 2000 or 2001.
Okay.
And I believe it was right before 9/11, or right after. I don't remember exactly, but anyway, we had to get Hank's truck. Hank wanted to attend the show, and we took some of our other trucks, and so I ended up going to Hank's house in Monticello, New York, driving the truck back to our place with Hank on board.
Okay.
And driving it back, and it's funny because I just ran into Hank not long ago on the road with the gully there.
Oh yeah.
And I said that. I said, "Hank, you remember the time I drove your truck?" And he says, "Yeah." He goes, "You're one of the few guys that ever drove it that shifted it right."
Really?
Yeah, and I'm not bragging or saying, that's it. He said that, and I said, "Okay." I said, "Good."
Hey, that's a seal or approval right there.
But I do have a picture of me driving that. Hank took a picture while we were driving down the road.
That's legendary status right there. Now you can say that.
Yeah.
Not too many people can say that.
I remember as a kid seeing that truck on like trucker cards and different things. I never at one point thought I would be driving it.
I saw it at Englishtown in like '89. I couldn't believe it. You followed him in the magazines, going to Germany, and he's in Germany now.
He's in Germany now. I just seen he was driving a truck or something over
there. What were some of the reasons the company closed down in 2002?
A lot of different things. I mean, September 11th happened, 9/11, which unfortunately was and a lot of insurance things after that was I believe a lot of different trucking companies, because it was exactly almost a year later.
Okay. I was driving for New Century at that time.
Okay. Yeah. That morning, I remember I was in Kentucky. I woke up that morning in Kentucky on my way to Texas.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. It's a tough time.
But then, so that, you had that going on. Craft food. Down in Winchester, we were doing all that work. They had built a new warehouse. And when they built the new warehouse, they were doing transportation right from Winchester. And when they built the new warehouse, their transportation got switched to their main out in Illinois. Okay. So when a lot of that happened, then Swift and Schneider, they were pushing a lot of the mega fleets to start running this freight. So, you go from 40 loads or 50 loads a day down to, a handful here and there.
Yeah,
that's a big loss.
You out. Yeah, and they just save a couple bucks.
Saving money.
Really saving money.
But, when they were running behind on production and different things, and they getting loads out late, and they needed them up in Wells, Maine at 5 a.m. They still knew who to call.
Yeah, let's call a reliable Parry.
Yeah, so we struggled in with that for a while, and there's only eventually you got to say, hey.
So you sold all the trucks.
Enough's enough. Yeah,
that must have been tough. Must have been really hard.
It was
tell the drivers.
And it was emotional for a lot of people, a lot of different things, and for me, I was young. I didn't know anything else other than that. I'm 22 years old.
So how do you go from that to this?
So, okay, that's a whole nother story.
And I want to know what happened with your dad and your brothers, and where did they end up going?
So how I ended up in this, my oldest brother, Rob, went to work for a man by the name of Jim Barrett, who had just recently passed away. And Jim Barrett is the owner of Road Scholar Transport.
Road Scholar.
Yes.
Very well-known company.
And their main hub is
Clark Summit, Pennsylvania. Yep.
So Jim Barrett and my father were friends.
Okay.
Actually, back in the 80s when Jim started, my father loaned Jim his first 3 trailers to get going. And so my oldest brother, Rob, went down and took a job there. I ended up just doing hauling some container stuff, whatnot. But my brother Rob called me and he says, "Hey, you got to come join me down here."
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, "Okay." So I ended up going to work. My brother had bought, and that's how I ended up with one of those Peterbilts. We bought a bunch of these Peterbilts from Road Scholar.
Oh. Okay.
He had bought these for his better drivers.
Yep.
And he was maybe going through some whatever-ish, so he was often offload these trucks. We ended up buying them.
Yep.
My brother bought a bunch of them. I ended up with one of them.
Road Scholar always had nice equipment.
Yeah, they still
drivers and nice uniforms.
Yep. The white button down.
Yeah, they were like a Jevic or a New Century. They were like on parallel, and they're still in business.
They're still going strong. They're still going. And then I ended up working there, hauling freight for them, and found out they had 5 or 6 of these trailers hauling cars.
Oh,
They asked me if I wanted to get in on that, and I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even know they hauled cars and trailers like this back then. Like, I knew nothing. And as a matter of fact, this trailer, Road Scholar purchased it brand new.
Wow.
In 2001, and then I pulled it, and I bought it off of Jim in 2005. So I've owned it since 2005.
That's interesting.
And then eventually I stayed working there for quite a while.
Yep.
I ended up getting in a little bit of trucking myself with some reefer trucks, where I was hauling meat, kosher type meat from Chicago to New York City.
Okay.
Not me personally. I was still doing cars. I'd hire drivers. And this goes back to some of the guys that worked for my dad.
Sure.
These guys come to work driving trucks for me.
Wow.
And so I was doing it. So I had started up my own authority. I have trucks doing that. I'm still at Road Scholar doing this. And then it just kind of like made sense at one point. I think it was in 2008. I said, I'm going to take my truck, put it on my authority, and just combine it, and just concentrate on my thing. And that's what I did. So, but, you know, I was at Road Scholar for 6 or 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I bought this truck brand new, it had Road Scholar on it. That's where I was leased to Jim Barrett.
I know that. Your dad still around?
My dad?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, he's
still play golf?
Slowing down a little bit.
Okay.
Yes, so he's retired. Plays golf. He's 84 years old. Still going strong.
Okay.
Yep. And
Rob and Mike doing okay?
Rob and Mike are doing great. So Rob, you know, after he had got a trucking business going and successfully ran that for years, and he ended up selling it.
Okay.
And then he went to work for the company that had bought him out. He worked for them for 6-7 years, and he's on the verge of retirement at this point. Yeah. My other brother, Mike, he still does some trucking. He owns one truck. Okay. He hauls for Frito-Lay.
Awesome.
When need, and but he also has a lot of rental properties and different things there. So he does a lot of that stuff. And me, I'm in 2018 or 2017 or 18, I actually sold my business to my oldest brother, Rob.
Oh, wow.
He combined it to his.
Yeah.
And because I wanted to get out, I just wanted to go back to one truck. The stress, to this and that, different things, my marriage, you know,
it's hard to do.
It was tough. You're trying to balance it, and I'm trying to be out here driving and doing my job, and it just wasn't working. And so I sold it to my brother, Rob, took it all over, and then he had an opportunity, and he ended up selling his, and he made out very well. So, you know.
Still enjoy trucking?
Him?
You?
Oh, me? I still do, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the hardest part about it?
Being away from home, I think, now.
Yeah.
COVID COVID hurt me.
Yeah.
I sat home for 3 months during COVID when it first hit because of the shutdowns and this.
Sure, sure.
I could have worked a little here and there, but I decided to opt out and just I sat home with my wife. And I've been with my wife for over 20 years, and that's the most time in 3 months that we ever spent together.
Really?
At one given time, yeah. And she brought that to my attention.
Yes. Isn't it time to get back out there? And,
hey, honey, I think COVID's over. You can go back to work.
COVID's been over for like a year now, honey. What are you doing?
But no, I still enjoy it. It's definitely different. It's changed a lot. I believe it's changed a lot there's a lot of good things and not so good things. I mean,
what are some of the good things?
It's definitely a cleaner industry out here.
What does that mean?
Well, what I mean by that, I feel, is your truck stops and your rest areas. You know, you pull in, you'd be trying to sleep, and you'd have people knocking on your doors trying to solicit you. There's none of that going on.
Yeah, a lot less riffraff.
The riffraff. I'm not saying there's probably still no drugs or people doing, but I feel it's cleaned up. Like you go out to 20 years. I was just going to say Lake Station.
Gary, Indiana.
20 years ago, you go into Lake Station or Gary or West Memphis. It was like the wild west. And it's not like that.
Anybody seen my girlfriend Lucille?
Yep, Lucille. They're looking for Lucille. They're looking for this one. They're looking for that one. Or
you want some company?
This girl's for company. What color is your house? What's this? What's that? There's none of that stuff no more.
I feel like drivers curse a lot less now with the radio, too. A lot less cursing.
If you can get anyone to talk on the radio.
That's the other part. So that's definitely a positive thing. And we're always talking about the negative things of trucking. What's another positive thing that you still like about trucking?
The positive things that I still like about this right here.
Yeah, it's just great.
Meeting people. I like meeting people. I'm very open and you know, I still to this day I meet a lot of people coming into it, people that have been in it and you've never ran across, and you run across them. Facebook definitely opened up a big avenue of meeting people. You know, I like talking to even like younger drivers. You know, you meet, but that's even hard anymore too, because I remember being on the fuel islands, fueling your truck. You'd meet a friend for life just on the fuel island. Nobody, people don't even look at you no more. They won't. They get the earbuds in and they're on their phone or whatever. They're they don't want to.
And you think when you're pulling with a rig like this, it's a conversation piece. That somebody's going to notice it and strike up a conversation.
And it is and it isn't.
Yeah.
So it's still you will get people that'll come over and they want to know about the truck.
Yeah.
And I've opened doors for many people. Oh, you want to? Oh, look, you know, or drivers have their wives with them. I tell her, go get right in there and look. I'm not, you know, I'm out there pumping my truck and they're in here walking around. Whatever, you know. And but that's the way. Like to me, that's years ago. That's how it was like that. But it's not a lot. I still enjoy. I enjoy driving. Good. I enjoy being on the road. And it's just the truck. Just like this morning. I didn't know I was going to run into you. I'm tooling across. I'm going into the rotary, and I hear my name over to CB. And whoa, hey, I didn't know it was you at first. But that's, you know, that's the stuff I like.
That's old school.
Yeah, that made me smile. Like I went away the other way smiling, and and you're driving, or you get a it's a silly things. You're just buzzing on it.
It's still a brotherhood.
That eastbound Kenworth, man, that's a good looking truck. And I do the same for other people. I don't care if you drive for Western Express or Swift or whoever. If he's got tire shine on the rubber,
you see them making an effort. You need to acknowledge it.
He's got lug nut covers and the wheels are polished.
Absolutely.
I'm going to compliment him.
I'm the same way.
I'm going to compliment him.
Never answer me back, but I always say
it. Because he's taking the initiative. So keep giving him that by complimenting him. He'll say, hey, somebody else noticed that. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what kind of truck you're driving.
The four-wheelers aren't going to notice it. It's, you know, it's your peers.
And the bad things in trucking, which I have to say before I even get into it, I am probably a victim of this myself because it just went that way. I don't know how it went that way, but you know, the sleeper definitely made it helpful for me. But the camaraderie of pulling, I remember going in, one of my favorite truck stops was always the petrol iron skillets.
Me too.
And when you first walked in, you had
meat sauce, salad bar, soup and salad bar, sweet tea,
you know,
everything.
You walk in and it was, you know, drivers only sitting up front, and everyone would sit there and you could tell your story. Everyone had super trucker stories or this or that. There's none of that.
Nothing, huh?
He's trying, and that's what people, oh, they're taking away their restaurants, they're putting fast food there, because that's where the demand is. That's what the demand's for.
Really?
Nobody's going, I don't see it.
Yeah.
I mean,
everybody's on their phones in the restaurants.
They're in their phones, or they're hermetized in their trucks. They're packing, they're prepping meals.
Yeah.
They're bringing, packing. They're, these trucks are equipped. Everyone has refrigerators and microwaves and everything anymore. Yeah. Back, I know when I first started driving, you know what? Man, I had one of them little cooler things you plugged in your cigarette lighter.
Yeah, Coleman, yeah.
But that was for your drink or something. You didn't prep meals and all that in there. So if you wanted to eat, you had to walk in and sit down. Yeah. And I can remember being in like the Iron Skillet or the Flying J. I used to like the Flying J's too when it was an actual Flying J. Oh yeah. And you'd be sitting at a booth, and the place would be packed. I mean, packed. Not a one booth open. You come walking through and you're like standing looking for a place.
Yeah, the guy goes, hey, come sit with me.
Come sit with me. Yeah, you didn't even know each other, and you sit there and you eat dinner.
And you made a friend for life.
You made a friend. Yeah. And that is not like that. The trucking industry, I don't see it. In social media, some of it I'm okay with, some of it, like TikTok, like of course your stuff I'm really into, and there's certain, but it's the other stuff that I don't get it, is where guy's over here struggling. Yeah. He's struggling trying to back in. Yeah. Before you can get on the radio, because everyone you'd say, hey man, I got you over here, come on back, come on back, come on. Or you get out and help them. What do they do today? They video the guy and make fun of him. I don't understand that.
No, it's so not cool.
That's the stuff I'm not down. Yeah. I'm not like, I don't get that stuff.
Yeah. It's
and I don't care who you are, what you're driving, what. Everyone started somewhere. You didn't come out of the chute the professional, one back in, no pull up kind of driver.
I talk about it, driving Dad's road boss. Couldn't downshift. I just throw it in neutral and coast in every time.
My first time ever driving a truck. I mean, it's a long time ago, but whatever. But I was like 14 years old. And it was in that 85. It was a 1985 Ford LTL 9000 my father had. We're coming across 17 in New York. We did a lot of Frito-Lay back then, so you had to hand unload that. So I went with a lot of drivers, and I'm unloading, and I'm doing different things, right? So I'm a young guy, and so a lot of these drivers, I'd go on the weekends. So I'm fresh out of school, raring to go. Like him and my school, these guys have already done 3,000 plus miles. They're tired. These guys. So
hey, bring the young kid with you. He'll help out.
Bring the kid. He'll do this. He'll do that. So anyway, I'm in this Ford and I'm driving. Yeah. And we're coming across. You used to have towns and everything going across 17 there, and I'm getting off for Lounsbury. There's a truck stop in Lounsbury coming down. Oh, yeah. And I'm coming down and I'm going, because going up we just did the switcheroo deal. Okay. I never shifted the gears. Right. So now I get it out and what do I do? I'll just leave it in neutral. We had an empty trailer anyway. That's the same thing. I just feathered the brakes down to stop. Got down to the end of the ramp.
Not very heavy anyways.
Got to the end of the ramp. We switched back around. That's funny. But that's where I learned how to drive. I learned, you're backing around. You're doing things. I remember, you'll like this one. I remember I was 18 years old. I got my permit. And my father wasn't very actively driving. And a lot of the years he had his business. I don't want you thinking he was on the road always driving, because he wasn't. And he says to me, I took your two brothers, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to take, so it's a Saturday. I think my brother Rob went in his own truck, and one of his, in another truck, and there was another driver. So there was three of us. We ran to Winchester, Virginia, got some Capri Sun, going back. Sure. 4 hours down, it was 4 hours back from where we are, 4 hours one way. So my father goes, well, come on, I'm going to take you. He was all, I'm going to take my boy. I took my other, just got, brand new trip. Just got my, got my permit. I don't even have the license yet. I'm only on a permit. So we pull out of the yard, and we're about 4 miles, maybe 5 miles off 81. We pull up, we have one of the new International Pro Sleepers. Yeah. And we pull up out, and I'm following my brother, and we're going. We go about 3 miles. My dad looks over at me and he goes, well, I know this isn't your first time driving. because everything's just flowing,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And he's like, I remember your brother, this and that. He goes, I was expecting a train wreck here. He goes, you've definitely drove. So I didn't say anything then, but years later I did say to him, I said, well, this is, I said, you're sending me out on the weekends with all these guys. I said, that's where I'm getting my education. That's where I'm learning.
Good for you for not ratting those drivers out.
No, because I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Why would I rat them out?
Right. Yeah, you're smart. You kept your mouth shut.
You know, back in those days, I wanted to. But it got to a point where I would go with certain drivers every weekend. Like, you know, say you were one of them. You know, back then we just little coffin 42-inch, 36-inch bunks, and we'd come out of Frito-Lay or whatever. I don't even should be saying their names, but whatever. Either way, it doesn't matter.
Come on, say it.
Yeah. Well, no. Okay. The business Frito-Lay home potato chips.
Okay.
But they're, you know, they say, all right, they get me in. Yeah, well, I'm gonna get in the bunk. You're good now, right? Yeah. Or wake me up at Canona. They get in the bunk and go to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm 14, 15 years old, cruising down.
That
just
is
going.
the best time of your
and
life.
they're in the bunk sleeping.
Yeah.
You know, and you're on the CB, you're there, and it's like I'm in heaven.
When I was 14, same thing. As soon as I heard my dad start snoring, you know, it's like I was all by myself.
You're a big trucker now.
Trucking across Montana in a Western Star. I am the driver of this truck.
You're a big trucker.
Yeah.
The first time, do you remember coming up 476 from Allentown to Scranton? They had the single tunnel.
Yeah.
Each lane in the tunnel. So I'm with one of the drivers. Danny was his name. He was one of the guys who used to let me drive all the time. And so I'm coming. He was in the middle of the afternoon, middle of the day. He comes on out. He goes, "Hey, you want to drive?" Yeah, I want to drive.
Yeah.
So you gotta get in. We're coming up through there, and I'm coming up in the tunnel, and I'm telling you, I'm scared.
And it's stressful.
I'm scared. Yeah. And
Even for an experienced driver.
And I'm going, and I says to him, I said, Dan, what am I supposed? What am I supposed to do? I can't do. As calm as a cue, he's sitting there just like you. He goes, I advise you to aim it towards the hole. So I'm like, oh Lord. So I'm all jacked up on the seat, and I'm going, and I go into the tunnel, and I go through the tunnel, and I come out the other side. What's that lady doing?
I don't know what she's doing.
I come out
she's going the wrong way.
So I come out the other side of the tunnel, and you know what happened, Mike? It was like I says, I can do this.
Right.
Like, I got this. And then from that point on, just like, I don't want to come over kind, but it was just, I was more relaxed with it. I was really relaxed with it.
That's good. These are great stories. Well, we're going to end it here, because I need to get home at some point. You need to get home. So you're heading back home for Christmas?
Yes, I'll be home tonight.
5 hours? 4 or 5 hours, hopefully?
5 hours.
And then you head out when?
Thursday morning.
Going to
Baltimore.
Okay. So before I go, this is your chance to get any good stories you wanna relay before I take off. That you get. What happens is, Ryan, sometimes I leave an interview and then the driver goes, "Oh,
I remember that.
I remember that story. I should have told
Yeah.
him." You got anything in mind?
Well, since we're talking about things of driving and different, I do have one in mind.
Okay, great.
And,
Glad I asked.
It was another employee of ours. He was just a mechanic.
Okay.
His name was Randy. Randy had passed away since, but Randy, very loyal worker.
Okay.
Early days of Randy, he didn't have a driver's license.
Sure.
So I was 16 years old.
Okay.
I had my driver's license. So me and Randy are in the shop pickup truck going down to the international dealer for parts.
Okay.
So we get down there, and the service department says, "Hey, I got one of your trucks is here. It's all done. It's ready to go if you guys want to take it."
Let's see where this is going.
So me and Randy, we go out in the parking lot now. We're cutting scissors on what we're going to do, right?
Who's gonna drive the truck?
So
who's gonna drive the car?
So I finally says, "Look, here's the deal. You don't have a car license. I don't have a truck license." I said, "Why don't you drive the pickup and I'll drive the truck?"
Sure.
Sounds
It's
great.
reasonable to me.
So we get in it. Away we go.
Yep.
Let me tell you, I pulled in the yard. My brother Mike was standing there, and he was not as amused with it at the time as we were.
What were you guys thinking?
That's exactly what it was. What are you? Because you got Randy
I was doing you a favor.
No driver's license in the company pickup. Me with no CDL, bobtailing a truck. But you know, at the moment, I guess we could have just left the truck there.
But at the time, you would convince yourself. It seemed like you were helping out the
we're
family.
helping everybody out.
I'm going to be the hero and get a pat on the back.
We're helping it out, but it didn't end up that well.
It's called being a company man.
We can all laugh at it now. Even my brother Mike, he'll laugh at it now. But that's what I said. At the time, he didn't find it as amusing as we did.
I can see that. My dad wouldn't have either.
But
well, that's good.
That's probably all about I got now.
Well, all right. Well, hey, thank you very much for talking to me and meeting up with me. It's nice to spend some time with you.
Thank you. I'm glad. Actually, I'm glad I ran across you.
This is only the second time we've met in person.
Yes. Do you remember where the first time was? I do.
Florida.
No.
Yes.
On the way to Florida, but it was in the Georgia rest area on the top side of Georgia, out of South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
You were on your way down, I think, to get on a cruise or something with your family.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that was...
it was a long time ago. Probably 10 years ago.
No, not that long. No, because I had this sleeper on the truck.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, whenever you went on a cruise with your family down there, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember when that was.
I don't know, every day is the same to me. It was work.
No, it's adventurous. I'm going to go to New York City tomorrow morning with the family. It's my big adventure.
Just for the day, or are you going down there for Christmas?
A couple days for Christmas. Yeah. We go every year. So.
Oh, nice.
That's my big road trip now, unfortunately. I miss the road all the time, but I love following guys like you, the guys who are still doing it. And I'm glad you worked out a good work-life balance, because a lot of people don't have that, and you can't seem to figure it out.
I love your old stories, like when you worked for New Century and making turns every
night.
People would think that today, and they think, oh, you couldn't do it. No, back then you did it. There's no you couldn't do it. You did it.
Yeah.
You made the turns.
There was no sleeping. I didn't sleep for 8 years. I still talk about it. I don't remember half the stuff I did in New Century because I didn't sleep.
What years did you drive for New Century?
2000 to 2008.
So I bet you we ran across each other.
I'm sure.
Passing, but you didn't know.
Every day, New York to Maine,
because
to Boston to New Jersey.
I ran a lot, like from 2000, 2001 up here. I was up here all the time.
Yeah.
Jersey.
Sure.
And then we went with Road Scholar.
Before social media.
Yeah.
So.
But you're right about Road. They have really nice equipment.
Yeah.
They're a good company.
Yeah, I might have ended up there at some point.
They're a good company.
Yeah.
I believe even with Jim gone, it's still going to be in good hands with the kids and everything that are there. They're very well knowledged with the business.
Right.
They run it very well, and
they always seem very professional, which is lacking in this industry. There's only so many companies that the drivers portray themselves as professional drivers.
They still have them they still wear
white uniforms.
They do day cab sleepers. They got reefer. They do everything.
And companies like that usually pay a little more too for professional service.
Yep,
which is good. Those are the good companies.
And they've always had a term. I don't know where their terminal was. They were in Fitchburg for years up there.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're probably they always have one up here.
I knew a couple of drivers that went from there to Jevick to New Century. They kind of floated around. Now those guys all work for ICX or Elite or some of those other companies.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Merry Christmas.
You too, Mike.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the tour.
And if you want, I don't know, maybe later or tomorrow, I can send you a bunch of pictures.
Whatever you think. Because I'll be editing this over the next couple days. I'll just throw in some pictures.
I got some pictures of this truck with the Road Scholar on it. I got pictures of this truck stretched with the
I want to see it. I want to see Parry pictures.
I got Parry pictures.
I want to see old pictures.
I got me and Hank Good's truck. I got me and my dad. Me when I first went on that first trip with my dad. I got a lot of pictures.
Send them to me ASAP. Over the next couple days.
Yeah.
I won't rush to put this out on Christmas just so I can get all those pictures.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
And I did, just for the record too, after I met you, we messaged or whatever, talked on the CB radio. I called my brother, my oldest brother Rob, and I did tell him, I said, I think I'm going to meet with Mike. He's in an interview. He wants to ask me a lot about the parent. He's like, oh, that's great. He was all excited about
I was going to come to Boston. I'm glad I didn't have to go into the city. I just come up the next exit, turn around.
I thought I was going to be over there all day, but they ended up, some of them cars are not being flown in. They were supposed to be here at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
They ended it's a whole mess.
Yeah, I'm usually just getting out of work around now, but it worked out great. And then glad we could do this.
Yep.
All right, brother.